Ladies and gentlemen, your greatest enemy is not outside of you. It is within you. It is not the government, not your family, not your circumstances. It is your mind. The battles of life are not won with physical strength, but with mental discipline. If you can master your mind, you can master your life. Think about this. A lion raised among sheep will behave like a sheep until it realizes it is a lion. The same is true for you. If your mind is programmed for failure, you will live in failure, even if success is standing right in front of you. Today, I am here to tell you one thing. If you can transform your mind, you can transform your world. And if you stay with me until the end, I will show you how to break free from the mental chains that have held you back for too long. The mind is the battlefield where the greatest victories and the deepest defeats take place. Every human being is engaged in a war, but this war is not fought with physical weapons. It is fought with thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. The true fight is not external, but internal. It is not against people, circumstances, or systems, but against the limitations, doubts, and fears that seek to dominate the mind. The world outside is shaped by the world within. A person's thoughts determine their actions, and their actions create their reality. Everything that manifests in life first takes form in the mind. The greatest struggles are not the ones visible to the eye. They are the silent battles waged in the depths of the human mind. The decisions made internally shape what is experienced externally. Strength, success, and resilience are not rooted in physical ability alone, but in the mental fortitude that directs and sustains them. The ability to overcome challenges, rise above adversity, and seize opportunities depends on the thoughts that govern the mind. If the mind is weak, even the strongest individual will crumble. If the mind is strong, even the weakest will find the strength to endure and overcome. The battlefield of the mind is constant. It does not rest, nor does it pause. Everyday thoughts enter the mind, shaping perspectives, influencing emotions, and directing choices. Some thoughts build, while others destroy. Some empower, while others weaken. The war is between truth and deception, between possibilities and limitations, between vision and blindness. To win this battle, one must first recognize that the mind is under siege. Every negative thought that lingers, every fear that takes root, and every doubt that settles is an attack designed to weaken and confine. If left unchecked, these thoughts become strongholds, shaping a life of stagnation, failure, and regret. Victory begins with awareness. To take control of the mind is to take control of life itself. This requires discipline, intentionality, and vigilance. One cannot allow the mind to be led by whatever thoughts arise. It must be guided, trained, and directed towards that which brings growth, success, and fulfillment. The battle must be fought with persistence, resisting every limiting belief and replacing it with a higher truth. The mind must be fed with wisdom, guarded against deception, and strengthened through meditation on thoughts that bring clarity, purpose, and strength. The outcome of life is determined by who wins the war in the mind. Those who fail to recognize the battle become victims of their own uncontrolled thoughts. Those who engage in the fight, who take responsibility for what they believe and how they think, will rise above their limitations. The key to unlocking potential, to stepping into destiny, and to living a life of purpose is found in mastering the mind. The battle is real, the stakes are high, and the choice is clear: to live defeated or to rise victorious. Everything depends on the state of the mind. The mind is the architect of destiny. Every thought that passes through it holds the potential to shape the course of life. The direction in which the mind is set determines the path a person follows, influencing decisions, behaviors, and ultimately outcomes. Thoughts are not passive, they are active forces that mold character, establish habits, and dictate responses to challenges and opportunities. They are the seeds from which reality emerges, shaping the experiences and achievements of an individual. What is entertained in the mind becomes the blueprint for action. A thought that is nurtured grows into an idea develops into a plan, and a plan transforms into action. These actions, repeated over time, solidify into habits that shape the very nature of a person's existence. The results seen in life are merely reflections of the internal world of thoughts. If the mind is filled with clarity, vision, and purpose, life moves in a direction aligned with those thoughts. If it is clouded with confusion, negativity, or doubt, the path ahead becomes uncertain and unsteady. Every decision made is a product of what has been consistently processed in the mind. Choices are not random. They are guided by deeply held beliefs and thought patterns. The outcomes of life, whether success or failure, progress or stagnation, are traced back to the thoughts that influenced them. It is impossible to rise above the level of one's thinking. A mind that envisions greatness produces a life of significance. A mind that dwells on fear and limitation constructs a life restricted by those very fears. The mind serves as a filter through which every experience is processed. It interprets situations, assigns meaning, and determines responses. Two individuals can face the same circumstances and yet arrive at entirely different outcomes based on how their minds have been conditioned to perceive and react. The thoughts consistently entertained act as a guiding force, directing energy, focus, and effort toward what the mind believes is possible. Transformation begins at the level of thought. Change in external circumstances is sustained only when there is a shift in mindset. New actions can be attempted, but if the thought patterns remain the same, old habits will eventually return. True progress is a product of renewing the mind, restructuring beliefs, and aligning thoughts with the desired outcomes. The way forward is determined by the willingness to shape thoughts that lead to a greater vision and purpose. A disciplined mind creates a disciplined life. What is repeatedly focused on expands, and what is ignored diminishes. The mind must be carefully cultivated, filled with thoughts that inspire growth, perseverance, and success. Every moment is an opportunity to choose thoughts that build rather than thoughts that destroy. When the mind is directed toward that which is constructive and empowering, it sets a course toward a future filled with purpose and fulfillment. It sets a course toward a future filled with purpose and fulfillment. Thought is the foundation upon which destiny is built. The greatest investment one can make is in mastering and refining the power of the mind. The mind is the center of transformation. It is the driving force behind growth, success, and fulfillment. The state of the mind determines the course of life, influencing decisions, behaviors, and ultimately outcomes. If the mind is left unguarded, it becomes vulnerable to fear, doubt, and negativity. Without renewal, it falls into patterns that limit potential, hinder progress, and keep a person trapped in cycles of mediocrity. To experience true change, the mind must be renewed. For without this renewal, stagnation and decline are inevitable. Renewal is an intentional process. It does not happen by accident, nor does it occur passively. It requires a conscious effort to replace old thought patterns with new ones, to challenge limiting beliefs, and to embrace perspectives that align with growth and purpose. The mind must be cleansed of thoughts that weaken, and be filled with those that empower. It must be guided away from distractions that derail and directed toward a vision that compels forward movement. Without this renewal, even the greatest opportunities will be wasted, and even the most favorable circumstances will be misused. A mind that is not renewed is easily controlled by external influences. It becomes reactive rather than proactive, shaped by the opinions of others rather than by personal conviction. It drifts aimlessly, without clarity or purpose, adapting to circumstances rather than creating them. When the mind is renewed, it becomes anchored in truth, steadfast in vision, and unwavering in purpose. It is no longer swayed by temporary setbacks or external pressures, but remains focused on the path ahead. Transformation is not instantaneous, it is a process. The mind must be continuously refined, strengthened, and aligned with principles that lead to progress. The habits of thought must be cultivated daily, ensuring that they support growth rather than hinder it. A single moment of clarity is not enough. It must be reinforced through consistent practice. The discipline of renewing the mind requires commitment, patience, and perseverance. It demands the rejection of thoughts that do not serve a greater purpose and the embrace of those that lead to fulfillment. A renewed mind does not dwell on past failures, nor is it bound by previous limitations. It sees beyond current circumstances and focuses on what is possible. It embraces challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to success. It remains steadfast in the face of adversity, knowing that transformation begins within. The renewal of the mind leads to renewed actions, renewed habits, and ultimately a renewed life. There is no greater investment than in the transformation of the mind. It is the foundation upon which success is built, the key to unlocking hidden potential, and the force that shapes destiny. Without renewal, there is no growth. Without growth, there is no progress. The mind must be intentionally directed toward that which elevates, strengthens, and empowers. Renewal is the path to change, the process of becoming. And the mind holds the power to redefine the future regardless of past experiences. The past may have shaped perceptions, influenced decisions, and left imprints on identity, but it does not have the authority to dictate what comes next. Every individual possesses the ability to break free from previous limitations and construct a new path. The future is not determined by what has been, but by what is believed and pursued moving forward. The past is a chapter, but it is not the entire book. What happened before does not have to define what happens next. The mind must be trained to release the grip of past failures, disappointments, and setbacks. Holding on to past struggles only reinforces them, creating a cycle of stagnation. Change begins with the decision to see oneself beyond past circumstances and embrace the possibility of transformation. The ability to move forward is within reach, but it requires a shift in mindset. It demands a commitment to break free from limiting beliefs, to detach from past experiences that no longer serve growth, and to adopt a new vision that aligns with a greater purpose. Carrying the weight of the past limits the potential of the present. Dwelling on previous mistakes or missed opportunities prevents the discovery of new paths. When the mind remains fixed on what was, it blinds itself to what can be. Growth is only possible when the mind is open to the idea that the future holds greater possibilities than the past. The decision to redefine personal identity is a powerful one. It means rejecting the labels of past failures, refusing to be confined by past experiences, and stepping into a renewed sense of self. Every moment presents an opportunity to reset, realign, and rebuild. The past does not have to be a prison. It can be a lesson. It can provide wisdom, strength, and insight, but it must not become a place of permanent residence. Moving forward requires a willingness to extract what is useful from past experiences while discarding what hinders progress. Growth happens when the mind focuses on where it is going rather than where it has been. The journey ahead is shaped by present thoughts, choices, and actions. The key to transformation lies in understanding that the past is unchangeable, but the future remains unwritten. The power to shape what comes next rests in the hands of those who refuse to be defined by past limitations. Every person has the ability to rewrite their story, to step beyond previous struggles, and to embrace a new vision for their life. The mind must be conditioned to focus on possibility rather than regret, on progress rather than failure, and on hope rather than despair. Breaking free from the past is not an act of denial, but a conscious decision to create a new reality. The ability to change is always present, but it must be claimed. No experience, failure, or disappointment has the authority to define the future unless it is allowed to do so. The mind holds the key to liberation, and those who choose to embrace a new vision will walk into a future that is greater than anything left behind. The mind serves as the gateway to all experiences, shaping perceptions, beliefs, and actions. Every influence that enters it has the power to either elevate or diminish potential. What is allowed to take root in the mind ultimately determines the direction of life. Just as a well-guarded fortress remains protected from enemy attacks, the mind must be carefully safeguarded against influences that weaken, corrupt, or distract from purpose. The thoughts that are entertained, the words that are absorbed, and the voices that are given attention all play a role in shaping the reality that discipline and guard in the mind is essential for growth and success. Every day, the mind is exposed to a flood of information, ideas, and opinions. Not everything that enters it is beneficial. Some thoughts strengthen while others weaken. Some influences inspire while others plant seeds of doubt and fear. Without awareness and intentionality, negative influences can take hold, subtly reshaping the way life is perceived and experienced. The mind must be actively directed toward that which builds, uplifts, and aligns with a higher vision. It cannot be left unguarded, absorbing whatever comes its way without discernment. The thoughts that dominate the mind influence emotions, decisions, and behaviors. They shape confidence, fuel ambition, and determine how challenges are approached. If the mind is filled with wisdom, truth, and purpose-driven thinking, it will naturally produce actions that lead to progress. However, if it is filled with distractions, negativity, and self-doubt, it will generate actions that lead to stagnation. The responsibility to guard the mind is a personal one. It cannot be left to chance, nor can it be placed in the hands of others. Each individual must take ownership of what is allowed to enter and take residence in their mental space. A disciplined mind is a powerful mind. It is not easily swayed by external circumstances, nor is it controlled by fleeting emotions. It remains focused on purpose, rejecting influences that contradict its vision. This level of discipline requires constant vigilance. It means being intentional about what is watched, listened to, and spoken. It means surrounding oneself with voices that encourage growth rather than those that bring confusion or discouragement. The mind must be nourished with knowledge, guided by wisdom, and protected from anything that weakens its strength. The quality of life is a direct reflection of the quality of thoughts entertained. A well-guarded mind leads to clarity, confidence, and fulfillment. A mind left exposed to harmful influences leads to instability, insecurity, and confusion. The battle for success, peace, and purpose is won or lost in the mind. Those who recognize the importance of guarding their mental space will walk in strength, wisdom, and unwavering focus. The ability to discern what is beneficial and what is harmful is a skill that must be cultivated daily. With discipline, awareness, and intentionality, the mind can become an impenetrable fortress, allowing only that which aligns with purpose, vision, and greatness to take root and flourish.